underway. The leaders of France, the UK and NATO are joining German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and US envoys. Zelenskyy said real progress had been made, welcoming new security guarantees offered by Washington. That's after anonymous US officials told reporters that they expect Russia to accept those security guarantees, framing it as a possible breakthrough. Zelenskyy spoke to the press a couple of hours ago. Listen in now.
There was enough dialogue regarding territory, and it seems to me that for now we have different positions, I'll say it frankly. However, I think that my colleagues heard my personal position, and I'm very glad that I was able to convey it. But everyone is ready to work productively.
Let's bring in our correspondent Gulliver Cragg, who's standing by in Kyiv. Thanks for joining us, Gulliver. So, is it possible to read kind of cautious positivity from the various sides in Berlin? Is that what you're seeing seeing with these diplomatic talks as well?
Well, we certainly see everybody trying to sound positive. The Ukrainians, of course, are trying to be as diplomatic as possible and not give the Americans any excuse to blame them for spoiling the talks. But you did hear Volodymyr Zelenskyy there saying that they still disagreed about the key question of territory. What does sound positive is this talk of security guarantees. The Ukrainians are saying that they want Article 5 style security guarantees from the United States. That means, as per NATO's Article 5, if there was another attack on Ukraine, if Russia reneged on the terms of a ceasefire or peace agreement, then NATO or the United States, maybe it would be just bilateral between Ukraine and the United States, but either way, in the same way as with the NATO Article 5, the United States would be expected to respond militarily. The Ukrainians have said that they want this to be voted by Congress in the United States. They're not going to take Donald Trump's word for it. Donald Trump has apparently, according to CNN, been saying that he is prepared to put that kind of security guarantee to a vote in Congress, but he said that he's not going to wait forever. And Volodymyr Zelenskyy did dampen down a little bit the expectations on that by saying that although they're working in very military terms and on the details of what these security guarantees would look like, it's still very much a work in progress, and until it's all set in stone, we can't, say that it's really there. And what he also said, and this is perhaps the most important point, Volodymyr Zelenskyy said that he did not know whether the Russians would accept the kind of proposals that they've been working on, the Ukrainians and their European and American allies. The reality is that the Russians have given every indication that they will not accept them. Yuri Ushakov, Vladimir Putin's advisor, as recently as yesterday said that if the proposals have been changed and watered down, then it's going to be a no-go for us.
Yeah, and one of the sticking points there, as you mentioned, was the territory question, the Donbass. Russia wants Ukraine to cede land in the Donbass. Just explain that part for us.
So I saw this very well explained by a Ukrainian military commander on one of the Ukrainian media sites today. He said, if you remember the battle for Avdiivka in Donbass, it was a town that was basically the front line between 2014 and 2022. The Russians started their onslaught, the full-scale invasion in 2022. It took 2 years before they managed to take that town, which is right near Donetsk city. And the Ukrainian forces defending that town had holed up in the coking plant there, which is a huge, sprawling factory. And what he said, this military commander, is in Kramatorsk, there are 10 factories of that size. These factories provide huge defensive facilities. They've got underground bunkers, they're massive, they've got really thick walls. They are great strongholds. And Kramatorsk, which is a major industrial city in the Donbass, one of the two cities there, two main cities that Ukraine still holds, they're Kramatorsk and Slavyansk. Kramatorsk in particular, and to a lesser degree also Slavyansk, are strongholds because they've got all of this industrial territory. And that's why, from a military point of view, leaving aside the situation of civilians there and leaving aside the principle of the thing, which is also, of course, very important, but from a strictly military point of view, unless the Ukrainians are absolutely sure that the Russians are going to be prevented from moving a step forward, they think it would be crazy to give up these physical strongholds.
Gulliver Cragg there in Kyiv, thank you as always. Now moving